Hey guys, this is going to be an unboxing and review of the Brastle Tiger from the NJR Zoids line. Now, before I say anything else, the reason this video is so long is because of the build part, and if you just want to see the picture gallery and some footage of the Zoid in action, the timestamp is in the description below, so just click on that. Also, I'm testing out a new microphone with this video, so if you have any feedback on the sound quality, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, this Zoid came out in 2004 and it was the last one in the NJR line. By that time, the models had gotten increasingly more complex, and this one's no exception. A lot on it moves, and it's kind of complicated to put together. The Brastle Tiger was later re-released in the Genesis line with a different color scheme, but otherwise unchanged. I bought that one when it came out, but for some reason didn't pick up this version until years later, and I'm only just now getting around to building it. Since by now this is an ancient and obscure model, plus I wanted to try out that new mic anyway, I figured I might as well document it with a video. You guys want to get started? Let's get started. Alright, so first off, obviously, we need to take a look at this box here. This is, of course, an NJR box with all the flashiness that entails. You've got a really cool photo manipulation of the Brastle Tiger here in a pose that he can never accomplish against this background. You've got, it's fairly covered with like text and inserts. Here's the boring part of the box. On the side, there's another really cool picture here. Also, this guy was actually Zoid's Empire, which is kind of a rarity for the NJR. Here we have this with sort of the technical stats, I guess. I really like the way this looks with this Photoshop halo here, which, if you know anything about Photoshop, that takes 2 seconds to do, but it works for me. And on the back, we have a whole bunch of stuff that I assume is, what we would call fluff in the Warhammer world. Description here of everything it does in motion. A size comparison against some blocks Zoid that is evidently supposed to give us an idea of how big it is. Yeah, and that's about it. It also says something about a DVD here. Wait, let me hold this up a little so you can see it. It says something about a DVD here, which actually I don't know if that DVD is in the box because I can't even remember how long ago I bought this thing, man. It was definitely years ago, and also years after it finally came out. You can see here EZ076 makes this, like I said, the last model in the Zoids NJR line. So it came out in 2004 and I bought it years after. Don't really know why I skipped it. Maybe because I just hated cat Zoids so much at the time. But when the Genesis version of this guy came out, I actually thought it was new. Okay, first of all, in here we have, of course, sprues. Because this is an old school Zoid, so it comes on sprues. And more sprues, black, and a really nice sort of dark wine red here. Crimson, whatever you call that. The instruction, but oh look, the DVD's actually here. Awesome. Gonna have to maybe do a separate review of that. Red, sort of pale gold for the weapon hatches. Silver for the claws, more red. What else is in here? The gearbox. Gearbox is on the other side. By the way, just sort of a note in passing, the reason I assumed that maybe the DVD had been removed, there's no tape here. These boxes were always taped shut. For some reason this one isn't. Get the gearbox out of here. Here we go. That's not the gearbox. Where is the gearbox? Wait, that's just the display stand. Hold on. Here it is. Scare myself for a second there. Here's the gearbox with actually some parts already attached to it, and I don't think I've ever seen this before. Held together by this rubber band here. That's interesting. Let's take that off for a second. This is obviously, this is just so it won't, you know, get broken in the package. Yeah, we have the battery hatch here, screwed shut, of course, like it was on all the latter day models. Seems to be a little grease coming out here. As far as I know, this thing takes two AAA batteries. I'll be testing it in a second. Real curious to see if it still works at all, because all of my old battery operated Zoids are dead. It's kind of depressing. Okay, that's the eyepiece, one gear, and a pilot. That's the display stand. Also something that, like, the later models mostly came with this display stand, which at the time I really didn't like, and now I wish I'd kept them. I think I might have actually tossed most of these. I have no idea where they are anymore. But yeah, that's the display stand. Let's just get the stuff out of the bags here. Hold on. I'm running out of space. I'm doing too many things at once. Like, you should see, like, all around here. This looks reasonably tidy aside from the newspaper, right? All around here, this place is a mess at the moment, because I've still got some stuff lying around from the Hunter Wolf review, and I'm actually working on a Kotobukiya model, so it's just a giant mess. I need a new trash bag too. Anyway, this is the leg armor pieces, of course. Looks unusually sharp, honestly. Of course, this was a new mold at the time, so more legs. And this is, of course, this is the head. You know what I'm looking forward to? Building jointed legs. I wonder if this is really everything, though. Doesn't really look like all that many parts. Would have expected it to be a little more. Anyway, more black parts. This probably leg armor here. Here we have more armor pieces, mechanical stuff for the legs. This looks a lot like the something that you would have found on the Blade Liger. Actually, I think I read somewhere earlier today that this is not the same as the Blade Liger walking mechanism, which is kind of a shame, because that was a really good walking mechanism. As much as I hate to admit it, but the Ligers are, there's too many of them, but they're definitely among the best engineered Zoids. Yeah, these are the leg parts here. Of course, this is the stuff that's made to look like it's like it's glowing. Let me take a closer look at the plastic here. Yeah, it has sort of a slightly metallic quality to it, and of course, as a result, some marbling. Looks pretty good though. More mechanical pieces for the legs. And this probably goes on the battery hatch here. Weapons, pilot seat, bunch of stuff. Get this out of the way real quick so that I can give you guys a look at the instruction booklet. I mean, I've seen a million of these, but I'm guessing there are actually some of you have never seen an NJR instruction booklet. So let's take a look here. Come on. I'm kind of excited, you guys, I have to admit. I haven't built an NJR in a long time. Here's the sticker sheet. Unfortunately, these old school Zoid stickers from Tomy they come on really, really thick plastic, so they look kind of like crap. Don't know how many of these I'm going to use, because on the dark plastic that the Brastle Tigers molded in, they're not going to look very good. Then again, I mean, I gotta have this, and I gotta have this always. This is probably this. I think this is to order replacement parts, but I'm not sure. This is the DVD. Let's get this out of the bag real quick, but I don't think there's anything interesting on here. I mean, on the packaging. The DVD itself, of course, is interesting. I just hope I can play it. This is going to be NTSC, so no idea if this will actually play on my disk drive. Oh, this is pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, for something that's just sort of a silly added bonus, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I have literally no idea what's on this, but we're going to find out. The official fan book X. Yeah, I remember these. This is the raised tiger. Actually, you're eventually going to see me build this one too because I actually have one of these as well. Um, here's a. Oh, this is so awesome. Here's a list of what was available at the time. You have Brastle tiger, raised tiger. This is the Wolf, Death Razor, and Parablade, and I can't remember what this guy was called. And then, unfortunately, a lot of blocks. This is another reason, by the way, why I wasn't really paying attention to Zoids at the time, because most of them were blocks, and I hated those. Oh, geez, that wasn't a comparison shot on the box there. Talking out of my ass again. See, what's happening here is that these are parts from... These are blocks parts that you can use to turn the Brastle tiger into this dragon creature. Yeah, now I really wish I'd have bought these. This is pretty cool. Especially given I already have a Brastle tiger, so I could have made both versions, you know. And here's raised tiger, and I don't know who this is. But anyway, here they are attacking a Death Star with a CP unit on its back and turning its head in a way that you really can't. I don't... This was a storyline probably in New Century Zero, which I really didn't watch because it was awful. And here's the instruction booklet, printed on matte paper. Oh, look, it's colored. Yeah, they only started doing this with the latter day releases. You have a list of all the parts here on the sprues so that you can check what's what. And then, you know, batteries, how to put the stuff together. La-dee-da. Here's where that gear goes. Looks like a sort of a medium complexity type build. And here, if I remember correctly, like this probably says like don't hold it when it's walking, because it'll bust up the gearbox. They always have this. Sometimes it was actually a separate sheet that they inserted in the instructions. And here's the very complicated construction of the display stand. Yeah, and that's the instructions. Well, guys, that's everything that's in the box. What's going to happen now is that I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm going to get all the parts off the sprues and trim them. You don't need to watch me denut this stuff, do you? But I'm looking forward to it. And as soon as that's all done, I'm going to show you guys how it goes together. So we'll be back in about 45 minutes for me and 45 seconds, more like 4.5 seconds. Actually, not even that long for you guys. See you in a bit. Okay, well, that took longer than I thought. I always forget, like, these latter-day NJR Zoids, they're a lot more complex than I remember them being. So, anyway, I just tested the gearbox, and I just wanted to show you guys something. Listen to this. And these old gearboxes, they were so freaking loud, and I completely forgot how loud they were. It's so funny. Anyway, we start the construction process by putting together a lot of fiddly little bits that are completely uninteresting to look at and that are going to require me to do a lot of staring and wondering which is which. So this is we're gonna be off to a really exciting start here. So I'm cracking jokes about it while I'm sorting through the parts to hopefully make this hurt a little less. I need these guys. I need these guns here. These are, if I remember correctly, these are the flaps that go on the back. And to make sure that I can tell these apart reasonably well, I actually have them sorted by number here. But I have to say the instructions are actually pretty clear. And my favorite part is this. Like these cannons here. You see how there's like these 4 like bolts or whatever molded into them. This is part number 4 and it has 4 bolts, and the other ones have 1, 2, and 3 so that you can tell them apart. It's pretty neat. They're trying to, obviously, like the kits were getting more complex, but they were trying to keep them kid friendly because it is kind of a problem when you've cut all the stuff off the sprues and then you can't tell it apart anymore. Now, next problem. Oh no, these are identical. Okay, right. Okay, so much for the watching me fiddle with things part. Doing on camera, honey. Uh, this goes here. La di da. And okay, this is A. Did I plug this together correctly? I believe I did. Now we need number 3, and we need another one of these. This is B11. They're both B11, so you can't get this wrong. And then I need part number the 5th, which I think is this one. Hopefully. Does seem to fit. Okay. Let me put that here just so that it's lined up the same way it is in the instructions. Number 2 goes together with this like so, and this is number 4 hopefully. And there's a nub here that I didn't do a very good job with. Hold on, let me just scrape that off real quick. The blade went a bit blunt towards the end just because there's so many parts, so not a perfect job with all these nubs, but to be honest, nub removal on parts that aren't going to get painted, it's never going to be perfect. Or maybe you can get it perfect if you're a madman who is actually willing to sand this down with like 5 million different grits and make it look nice, but screw that. You should paint your kits anyway, and then you don't have to worry about that crap. This doesn't seem to fit, and I wonder if it's because this is the wrong part. Don't think so. Take another look here. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know what I did wrong. Number 1 goes in here, so, hold on. We get this. We are off to a fantastic start. I'm already screwing things up, so, wait, so number 1 with one of these, the wide ones, and it gets the narrower one of these two, which is this guy. Okay. You can't get this wrong, it's so kid friendly. And then I get it wrong. Well, like I say every time this happens, if you're watching this is probably not the first time you're watching me do something like this, and so you're also used to me screwing it up. Now the instructions are really close to the microphone, and I'm real curious to see how badly the sound of me turning the pages is going to pick up. I mean, how badly the microphone's going to pick it up. Now, I need... Okay, there's 2 different ones of these. Yeah, it's these 2. So, this goes... Do it on camera. Goes here. Right? And then A goes here. Right. And then we have another one. Plugs on here. And this is, oh crap. Yeah. This one is B. This is B. And it goes here. And then obviously the ones with the wider thing here go on there without a part behind them. And that's this whole contraption done. Now I need this part, and I'm supposed to put this on the bottom pegs, which is going to allow them to all move at the same time like so, and the other half goes on here, and this is probably all going to explode in my hands at least once before I get it together, so be ready for that. Come on. There we go. Something had to go wrong. Okay, let's try this again. I gotta make sure I get this thing in the right way around, because this peg is gonna, you see this peg here, this is going to attach to something that's gonna actually drive this whole contraption, which, now that I think about it, is actually a bit like a Wild Blast mode. Okay. By the way, I remember I said I have the Genesis Brastle Tiger, so I've actually done all of this before, but I don't remember any of this. So it's just been forever. Okay, now I can't flip this over, or the big part that connects it all is going to fall off again. Okay, here we go. Line this up. Press it together a little more. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I think that's good. I'll put this away because we actually move on to the legs now. It's really strange how this all goes together, because usually the way it always worked was that you would start building up the torso and then attach the attach the limbs. That's usually how these were built, but guess not this one. Now a lot of similar looking parts here. This is, oh look, yeah, that's not it. Or is it? Yeah. Look, can you see this? It says I2. It actually has not only its number, but also the letter of the sprue that it comes from molded right into it, which is going to make it all the more embarrassing when I inevitably screw this up. Speaking of screwing things up, I need caps. There we go. And keep this right here. Okay, there's a lot more parts that go into this, and I'm not sure what order I'm supposed to assemble them in. So I'm gonna not put that cap on just yet. G5, that appears to be this one. Also has a nub that I didn't take care of properly, so let me do that. Okay, I was just checking if maybe I could see on the camera how much more time I have to record, because sometimes, you know how sometimes it runs out of memory and then you can't record anymore. Okay, I should be good if I just can find one last piece that attaches to this and makes the other half of the thigh. I can't seem to find it right now. This is it. Okay. I wonder if these instructions were done with you know, digital files of the parts or not, because they're not always as accurate as I'm sort of used to these days. See, I need to put this on here first, and then this. Yeah, this is just like the old school Liger legs, which means it's hard to do, but once you have it put together, it actually works really, really well. As much as it pains me to admit that something about the way too many Liger Zoids there were in the old school days was actually good. They did have some of the best engineering in Zoid's history. This is not together correctly, or is it? Why is there this huge gap here? Because this is not the correct parts. Remember how I said I was going to get something wrong here because I just said it's super kid friendly? That's what just happened. Yeah. These two are not identical, and now I know how to tell them apart. Okay, so get this in here, and this on here, and now it fits. And we need 2 caps, which by the way I have always, for as long as there's been Zoids, yanked off the sprue that they come on just with my fingernail. I'm not stopping now. Okay, now the feet are really honest engine. This is the same part 4 times. So hold on, I need to put the armor on first. Can I do that without yanking it back out? Yep, armor goes on like this. And come on. The armor all the way down. Is this is supposed to click into here? Okay, now we're good. Now we're good. So you see, this, when you move this, it actually moves the foot. I'm gonna hold it. See, like that. There's a mechanism that controls the foot movement and a joint. So for all those of you who have been wondering why I always complain about the under-engineered nature of the Zoids wild walking mechanisms, that's why. 2004, and this is, don't forget, I mean, this is based on the traditional sort of Liger leg mechanism, which is even older than that. I mean, this really goes back to the 90s. Okay, I'm looking for a part where I don't know what color it is, so I don't know where to look for it. There we go. This is going to be much faster with the other legs, which I may not even record myself building because I don't think it's very exciting for you guys to watch me build 4 identical legs. So we'll see. I mean, I also don't know if any of this is even watchable because I'm using this fancy ass microphone for the first time. K7. This is not K7. Does this have the, oh, it does have its parts designation molded into it. So here's where the leg armor goes. And there is more. Yeah, there's a heel armor, which should be on this pile, I guess. Oh yeah, here we go. A12. That's it. Oh, this is posable for no good reason. Okay, so that's a complete leg, near as I can tell. Except I made a mistake. I also need this. Although wait, I think I can just, yeah, I can just put this on without doing anything else first. But it's the wrong one, and it also has a nub here that I need to give some more love. Sorry, but when you denub an entire pile of parts like that all in one go, that works. Then you're gonna miss something. Like I cut all the parts off the sprues and then denubbed them all at once, so obviously you're gonna make mistakes. All right, that's a complete leg. You see how this moves? You can open this to reveal these missile launchers, and yeah, really cool armor design, of course. Okay, now now you only have to watch me do this 3 more times. I'm probably going to put the if you look at the description for this video, it will probably have the timestamp for where I'm done with all this, because I'm probably going to realize editing this that it's immeasurably boring. I'm also going to sneeze soon. I have a cold. I'm sorry. I really shouldn't be recording videos when I have a cold, but I wanted to test this new microphone so bad. So now I'm recording myself with a cold, and so I'm not going to have anything even remotely resembling an accurate representation of what I sound like with this microphone in the end. But hey, I never said that anything I do makes sense. Never. Hold on, like so. And then, yeah, I think I did this the other way around, didn't I? So this gets this first, and then this, like so. Do it on camera, maybe. And then we add this. Watch. This is how a child in the 80s correctly took rubber caps off of their sprue with your thumbnail. That's how it's done. No fancy tools, no nothing. Okay, close this up. Another cap. And the foot. It's a bit of plastic here from when I trimmed that knob. Dear. Oh, here we go. Sorry. This is all very exciting to watch, I'm sure. I kind of feel like I can get away with it though, because I mean, be honest, how many of you have actually have a Brastle Tiger? I'm guessing not that many. Okay, that's the internal mechanism for this leg, and now we add the armor here, and that funky ass thing that goes on the heel. A13, yep, here we go. This to close it up. I also have to say, like, yeah, well, no, it's actually kind of hollow here. I was going to say it's nicely molded not to have all sorts of hollow areas like a lot of these motorized Zoids do, but it actually is full of hollow areas. So it is a toy and not a model kit, folks. Okay, close up the missile bay, and that's the second one of the front legs. Now for the hind legs, first off, I'm going to need 3 caps to do this. Put this away for the moment. I'm going to need a foot. Goes together like suchly. You know what? Why don't I do the other one as well? Because, like I said, the feet, because of the way they attach, they're all identical. Okay, now we need. Let me make sure I grab the right part from the start this time. We need this guy. We need this one here. Also needs a little more denubifying. Okay. I need the bottom portion of the leg, which is this one. The other side of that. Sorry. I think there's going to be a lot more of that in this video. Either that or I have to stop the camera every 10 seconds to blow my nose. You know, it was fine a minute ago, and then I started filming. Ha ha. Here we go. This goes on here. No, wait. Put this on first. Now this. And then obviously the top needs to go in between here. You see, it's basically the same idea. You have this L-shaped piece here that connects to the foot. You put this on, and then you close it all up to hide the mechanism on the inside. There we go. You attach the foot. You realize that there's a knob you didn't trim properly, or maybe I did. Foot goes on like, come on, like this. Put the caps on like so. And armor. Oh, the missile launchers first. This goes on like this. Wait, no, the peg is supposed to face this way. Right, yep. And now there's a completely different looking piece of armor that closes all this up. But I just didn't find this one first. This is K9. This goes here. If you're hearing music playing right now, it's because I was watching this after the fact and realized it's incredibly boring because there's too many breaks in my talking. If you're not hearing music, I probably just got lazy. K11. Okay, this doesn't have a parts number molded into it, but this is clearly K11. And hold on, let's get the other one on first. I honestly don't remember this guy being this sort of confusing to put together, but it's actually kind of hard, to be honest. I mean, harder than you'd expect from one of these motorized models anyway. Oh, this goes here. Okay. Okay, and now the heel armor, which should be somewhere on this pile. Or so I would have thought. Yeah, that's it. A10. Yeah, that's it. Because this is plainly not symmetrical. I'll get this on here. Okay, that is one of the hind legs. Same deal. You've got this nice mechanism here that moves the foot. Similar armor design. All looks very cool. Okay. Alright, next, final leg. Okay, so the rest of these legs parts should be easier to find because now there's only one of each left. Watch me make a mess of it anyway somehow. Bottom part is the top part here, the foot. I need 3 caps. One, dos, trois. I need to move up my chair and make a funny noise. Okay, see if I can do this without making a fool of myself. I should not have said that. Put this on first, and then this. This like so, and then attach this to the knee. Close it up. Okay. Put the foot on. See, now that I'm done, I'm getting good at this. Arf, arf. Put the caps on. I really like this sort of nondescript, almost gold-like collar that these are, that of course matches this. You see that? It's really cool. Missile launcher. This is something, if I was going to paint this, this would really be worth painting here, but I don't really paint my old school Zoids. If I can get a cheap one of these, I'll build another one and paint it. Yeah, right. Let me check something. I don't like this. Yeah, this nub here needs denubbifying. Okay, now I've made it worse. Here's another trick. Scratching parts with your fingernail actually sometimes makes the stress mark disappear at least a little. I don't know why that works. I've told it to people online and they didn't believe me, but it really does work. And I'm so sure of that that I'm now not showing you the result, because I'm 100% convinced that it worked, so I don't even have to show you, right? And now I cannot locate the last missing pieces of armor for this. Well, that's disconcerting. Edit. Ah, here we go. This goes on the shin, and there's another one that closes up the top here. That is right here. Of course, right on the pile where it belongs. Where else would it be? Okay. All right, that's the legs done. Now for the torso, we're actually supposed to take these off. Now, I need this gear, and I need this thing, which actually I may have said during the unboxing that I thought this was the battery cover, but it's not. This goes it's a gear on top here, just like a Zoids Wild kit. Okay, this goes on here, where it's going to rotate, and it has, of course, something to do with the whole big contraption on its back that we've already assembled, but I actually can't remember what it does when you turn it on. Okay, now I need this mechanical part here that's completely buried under the legs off screen. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. Okay, you see this? This is gonna make this move back and forth. Probably drive the movement of the head. Now, next we close this all up, I believe. Right? Like that. Okay. That doesn't attach it, but it does close it. I turn the page, yeah. Well, I'll lean in closer to the microphone and it probably sounds weird. Now, this, hold on. Part of the neck attaches to this as well, and I want to make sure I don't have to take it back off again. So this feeds through a peg hole, which does not exist here because this is the wrong part. Yeah, here we go. This has grease from the gearbox attached to it. I mean, attached to it, just smudged on it. Okay, there's going to be a mechanical piece here that attaches to a whole bunch of stuff, but I think that goes on from the other side. Okay, well, what I was just doing was pointless, but let me see. You know, I really do think I sorted these parts as best as I could. Okay, now I know what my mistake was. You have to put this contraption together first. Man, this really is more complicated than I remembered it being. I might have picked something more simple at least for this microphone test today. Like, you know, I have a storm sorter jet as well that I never built, for example. So this goes on here. This goes on here. And then you close this all up. You know what also scares me? I'm recording sound and video separately. And my laptop has gone to standby, and I have no idea if Audacity is still recording, for one thing. And for another, I also have no idea whether I'm going to be able to get this to sync up correctly. Okay, and now I have to think about how this goes together. Oh, lottie. Okay, if I understand this correctly, this clicks into this, and that's all it does. This is still just sort of flopping around here. Okay, you are seeing edit number 11 billion, most of which you know nothing about because it's all going to disappear. And I am just now in the process of putting the mouth on this thing together, which causes this part to fall out a lot. And I'm telling you guys, you have no idea how many things I got wrong in the last 10 minutes and how many times I stopped the camera and restarted it. And you don't want to know why, and you don't want to know how. All you want to know is pay very close attention to the instructions if you do ever build your own Brastle Tiger, because it's harder than you think, and the mechanics are quite complicated. And I think the last few months of super simple Zoids Wild kits have kind of made me soft-brained. Okay. Let's take a look here. Yeah, that works. Okay, finally. Okay, now before we close this up, we have to put on these ass flaps here. Like so. I'm just waiting for the next thing that I forget, you know. And then I'm probably going to just dump the whole video and just not do it. Can I close this up now? Really for real this time. This would only be the 4th time that I have to remove this part again. Okay. Let me turn the page. Check if I'm even recording video. I mean audio. I'm going to check the camera as well. Yes. Both things are in fact recording. Okay, we put this very blade-like looking cannon here on the bottom. Realized that we're doing this for the 2nd time, and like the first time we forgot that it would have been easier to put this one on first. And then the one thing I really have to warn about. Before you put this on, you want to be sure, very sure, that you didn't forget something. Because getting this back off is the main reason why this whole sad episode here ended up taking me something like 15 minutes, because it's almost impossible to get its ass back off its back when it's on the back, the ass, I mean. Okay, now number the 1st, we put the top dentures on, like suchly so. Number the 2nd, we put on this part of the head. Then the pilot seat, which seems to just sort of rest on there, which makes me wonder yet again what I might be doing wrong. But let's just see what happens if we do it this way. So many edits in this video already, it's not like it makes a difference. Okay, this goes on the hatch. Put this on. And check the instructions to make sure we're not forgetting something, because we're getting just a tiny bit paranoid here. Everything's falling apart. That's awesome. Squeeze this on correctly. Pilot seat. Again, this goes on here. I'll hold everything together. Seriously. Hold on. Shouldn't I be able to... You know what? Let me do this without the cockpit seat in place for a second. And see if I can just slide it in from the top. What's going on here? What? I'm very close to having an actual on-camera hissy fit, guys. I really am. Okay. This is evidently meant to be some sort of ejection seat, but it just sort of stays there. Alright, and that's the Brastle Tiger's head finished. The instructions are telling me to put in the pilot at this point, but that is heresy. You do not put the pilot in a Zoid before you finished it. Rules is rules. Okay, now, here's another two parts that are easily confused. This appears to be F7. Now I need these flaps for the side here. This one first. And there's a red part that goes on the inside. Like so. And this goes on this peg on the bottom. Okay. And this attaches right here. Yeah. Man, it really has been forever since I've built a Brastle Tiger. I don't remember any of this. Looks really nice though. Alright, same deal on the other side. This doth clicketh in place like so. Might as well fold it up right now. Put these two together like that. Make sure it's all the way in. And attach it here. I mean, obviously the idea is that you can then, you know, fold this out, and then it has this gum that doesn't really stay in place, but it's a neat little gimmick. Also blocks attachment points here in case you want to customize it. Or I mean, obviously with the whole dragon thing on the box that I was talking about earlier. Now we need these guys, which also look like something that I'm going to get mixed up. They have the parts number molded into them. Okay, this is K4, so the other one must be one of the red ones. I5, you know, like high five. Okay, yeah, this is a lot like Liger legs. This goes on like this, and we need a front leg, and we need to make sure that all three attachment points are connected correctly, which is fairly easy to check because if I can't wiggle anything around loosely, I did it correctly. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs for all of this. And here we go. Before I forget, we also need to put this in here. And that seems like I got it right. Okay. Now, same deal on the back, really. This goes on here. And now see, now that I'm feeling a little more confident, I can show you. See, you have this peg here, this one here, and this one here. This one feeds through the big hole here. And you can probably see how this works. This one goes here, and this one goes here, and actually controls the movement of the rest of the leg. And of course you have to kind of look pretty closely to make sure everything's in where it's supposed to be. Let me get these red gear looking pieces here all together. Okay, this goes here. And now we do the same thing on the other side, I'm sure. Yep. All right, let's make this snappy. K3, K is black, goes in the back. Oh, did I just say that? Jesus. Maybe don't try to put a hind leg on the front. Okay. Boing. Kerplonk. Boing. Kerplonk. And that's the legs in place, and we can finally stand them up on all fours. Alrighty, now these big opening things on the side. I'll make sure I get those right. Do they have their parts numbers molded into them? They do not. Because a non-stupid person should be able to tell them apart. Yeah, 2 slits front, 3 slits back. This goes in here. I'll just put these all together before I attach them. Go. And here we go. Okay, now, this is what they're supposed to look like. So this goes on here and on here, and same deal on this side, except no, it does fit. And on this side, turn the page. We're almost done. Next thing we do is, I can show you something real quick. These little peg pieces here, it's on the next page of the instructions. You can put them on here, and then you have an attachment like a hard point for blocks, which you may or may not need, of course, if you're going to do the whole thing with the dragon thing. I also have a leftover armor piece here, which I'm going to check the instructions afterwards, and you're just going to. That's just going to be in the video, man. That's just going to be in the video. Anyway, the tail consists of 2 halves, making a wonderful, beautiful, awesome seam line. This goes on here. The whole contraption, this thing here, attaches to these 2 hard points, like, oh man, yeah, let's do one more. Let's do one more really fiddly thing just to make Mike look like an asshat one last time. Jesus. Yeah, I think I know where that armor piece was supposed to go, and I'm already crying and thinking about what I'm gonna have to do to actually get it in place. But I'm gonna just film myself finishing this, and then I'm gonna figure it out, and then I'm gonna show you what I did wrong. This is really difficult. Oh man, I wish I wasn't filming myself so at least I could curse. like properly. Okay, so see this thing, you can move that forward, or you can plonk it down like that. And I think then those move when you walks, but oh, okay, now it's all the way down. So that's what that looks like. And I will be back in a moment as soon as I've figured out what the hell this is. Good news, folks. I thought this went on the throat and I'd have to take the entire torso assembly apart again, but I just forgot to click on this heel armor here. That's all that was, and that was probably me breaking something. No. We got this back on. Okay. And see, now we put the pilot in. Okay. Actually, I should have this little peg here that holds it in place, but oh, it's not working. Okay. Now, here is your, excuse me, get this out of the way. Here's your Brastle Tiger all finished. I still need to get the stickers on this thing. I'm not going to film myself doing that. I've subjected you guys to enough boring stuff now. As soon as that's done, I'm going to get it on the spinny thing. I'm going to take some pictures, and most importantly, of course, we're going to watch this guy in action. Also, probably some comparisons to the Genesis Brastle Tiger. Although I already have to say, I think I might actually like this version better. Anyway, I will see you at the photo booth. So let's put that display base to use first. Like I said, a lot on the Zoid moves. The walking movement looks really smooth because of the mechanism driving the feet, but my favorite thing is probably the way the neck and head move as the mouth opens and closes. Basically, every other Zoid with an opening and closing mouth has a mechanism where either the lower jaw or usually the entire top of the head is fixed, and it's just the other half that moves, and that never really looks right. What they did here, though, that really worked. When you take them off the stand, it all looks a bit more jerky. It's not bad, but the feet slip, and so the forward movement is a bit awkward. Still pretty cool, though. If it seems a bit less noisy here, by the way, that's because there was actually a gear that was out of whack originally, and when it slipped off its axle far enough to where the gearbox stopped working, I had to take the gearbox apart completely and fix it. And by the way, now the power switch is backwards, so there's that. Yeah. Here's a picture with all the hatches opened. Cute gimmick, but not really something I would do more than once. The big hatches on the side of the legs also have a tendency to open on their own, and that's kind of annoying. And here's the comparison with the Genesis version I promised. Looking at the two side by side now, I really don't know which one I like better, and I'm just glad I have both. So, if you know anything about me, you know I'm not a big fan of the kitty Zoids in general, but I really like this one. The proportions are good. It has a nice sort of bulky look to it without being angular, and it just looks aggressive in a really cool kind of way. I also like these armor panels with the slits that show the red color underneath, and the movement with the opening hatches on the back. That's just plain awesome. I guess for me, this one just came out at a bad time back in the day. I was already getting sick of the overabundance of Liger Zoids and just generally wasn't paying attention to what was going on at that particular point in time. And then the NJR just kind of quietly died and was replaced with fusers, which was pretty terrible, if you remember. So I'm glad I tracked this one down eventually, and I have to say I definitely recommend you do the same if you can. So that's it for this one, guys. I had fun making this, so I hope you have fun watching. Like, comment, subscribe, check out my Patreon, and I'll see you in the next one.
RoboShop.